Hey, Miss Fleury, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Doing great. I'm really excited for tonight. We're excited to talk about broadly technology in classrooms in Carlsbad Unified, but very specifically also one of the components of what we use in classrooms, is at least starting to and exploring that world, is artificial intelligence. So let's see. I'm going to start the recording now because we're about at that time. Callie, I want you to get how many viewers we currently have on our live stream.
Okay, let me see.
No cheating.
Um,
You can't ask AI. It doesn't
oh,
know.
okay, 15.
Ooh, she's good. We are currently at 17 viewers on YouTube. If
Nice.
you're one of those 17, thank you so much for making the time to join us tonight. We are recording, so I know people lead busy lives, and if you're not able to watch us live, we will certainly provide this recording. But if you are live with us, we really appreciate it. We're excited to walk through a lot of information that we hope is clear and condensed to a point that it's uh, palatable and it's understandable, but it's also in depth enough that you really feel like your questions get answered and you have a good grasp of how in Carlsbad we are very intentionally leveraging certain tools and how we're making sure that we're using those with fidelity, we're using them for targeted purposes to support the vision of learning in Carlsbad, safety, security, all of the things that are important when we talk about our students. So I'm really excited to jump in. It is 5 o'clock. I say we get started, Callie.
All right, I think we should.
Okay, so navigating the future, what parents need to know about technology in the classroom. It says it begins at 5, so here we go. I'm Robert Allen. I'm the Director of Assessment and Technology in Carlsbad.
And I'm Callie Fleury. I'm the Instructional Technology Specialist, which is a TOSA position. That's a teacher on special assignment. So it's a lot of fun.
We are really excited to be here tonight to just talk about a lot of the work that we do that probably feels a little behind the scenes, and we wanted to bring that to the forefront for the community that we serve to let you know these are the major initiatives going on in Carlsbad. And to answer your questions, those of you sending questions prior to this, thank you so much. We went through those really carefully to make sure that we could provide those answers tonight. All right, Callie, what do you say?
Let's get started. So
I
here's
guess we
us
all
again.
are. So that's us. Yeah, again, Robert Allen, Director of Assessment and Technology, and Callie Fleury is our teacher on special assignments specifically for the integration of technology in classrooms. So really good to be here. Thank you all again. And just to give you an update, we are at 24 viewers now, Callie. So we have quite a great group joining us. We'll talk a little bit to the audience, a little bit to each other. It's almost like a visual podcast is what's going on, and we'll send this out when we're done. All right, Callie, what are we up to tonight?
All right, so tonight we're going to talk about what is artificial intelligence, right? We'll talk about AI in our classroom and some of the practical applications that we've been seeing, and then also initiating, right? Where we've been really working hard on getting this to roll out in a very targeted way. We're going to address concerns and ethical considerations. We're going to talk about our technology plan. We're going to give you some resources. And of course, we're going to answer some more questions. The questions that you already submitted, by the way, we're going to try to answer throughout this entire presentation, but we'll also give an opportunity for live questioning.
Awesome. Well, I say we jump right in. It's really exciting for us too to sit here in this position and have this particular discussion. I was prior the technology TOSA, that the
Mhm.
position that Callie's in now, and I remember going back a couple years. We were just starting to get into this world of talking about very intentional use of ed tech. iPads were kind of a thing, and then Chromebooks had come along, and we talked a lot about setting the table for this broader use of ed tech. And now here we are at a place where I don't think we foresaw necessarily having an artificial intelligence conversation, but it's really fun. I want to give a little bit of that recap for our audience while we talk specifically about AI, just to give context of how we kind of got here. We'll do that a little bit as we get into the presentation, but we wanted to start with kind of acknowledging what I think is the elephant in the room, and that is everyone's having this conversation right now. This idea that artificial intelligence has taken the world by storm in many ways. In some ways, it is seen as a panacea for a lot. In other ways, it seems overhyped in terms of what it's really used for and how the practical applications of it, specifically in education. So I'm really excited to talk tonight about how we plan to incorporate that into our vision. But we're not the only ones, obviously. All of our neighbors in the districts around us, but really even nationally and internationally, everyone's asking this question. One way that we really appreciate capturing data from the people that we serve, our community members, our families, our students, is through something called the Speak Up Survey. And so, those of you listening, you may have received that from us. We sent that out earlier this year, and maybe Callie can jump in a second, talk about how we did that. But the Speak Up survey is a national survey that just asks a couple of questions about perceptions around AI, feelings about AI. It does it broadly for technology in general, but this one was very targeted toward AI this year. And Callie did a nice job of, in bold on the slide before you, you can see that these are like the summarized takeaways of the data, the feedback that Carlsbad families gave us about their feelings of AI. We'll send you this slide deck after, by the way, and you see where it says speak up data. That's the entirety of the data that you can kind of comb through if you'd like. So this portion here, we'll make sure you have access to it. But Callie, can you speak a little bit to what we started to see from our families regarding their perceptions of AI?
Yeah, of course. So we sent this out via Parent Square. So thank you for those of you who did fill it out. We really appreciate it. We do look at this data, as you can see. And what it kind of summarized for us is that families are moderately familiar with AI. So I saw a lot of never using all the way up to I use it daily. So, right in the middle, which we would expect to see. So that was nice to know. It seems like the most used tool is ChatGPT, which makes sense. That's what kind of started all of this, right? They came out first with their model and it just kind of exploded from there. And then something that I thought was interesting is that the AI discussions at home are common, but it's varied as far as how deep you get into those conversations. Um, let's see. We are seeing that some of you feel like there's a lot of value in this, and some are a little apprehensive, which, with new tools, that's something that we would expect. And we hope to kind of give you some more of an idea of what this actually looks like in the classroom today. So hopefully we can kind of uh, help you see our vision towards it and how it can be useful in the classroom. But most of you actually do see that this is focused on being ready for the future, ready for the skills that our students are going to need when they go out into the workforce. So that's great to know. There are a lot of concerns about misinformation, data privacy, and accuracy, and we're going to touch base on all of that today. So thank you for filling this out. This helps us so much when we go towards our professional development and what we need to make sure we're addressing when we roll things out.
Yeah, thanks for that, Callie. I think we treat every tool as a tool to get a job done for a targeted purpose toward a vision of learning in the district. This happens to be a seemingly powerful tool that requires a lot of thoughtful consideration about how it's implemented. More so than being something flashy or fashionable, as powerful as it is, we want it to be powerful in the right direction. So we're going to speak a little bit more about the efforts we've made to ensure that that is in fact the case.
All right. So this first bubble that you see highlighted in purple, this is what we have been doing all year. We have a panel, not a panel, a group called the Tech Advisory Committee, so TAC. And with them, we worked on creating an AI vision for our district. And it's funny because we actually did use AI to help us, and it was, I think, a perfect example of how you use it. Like, we were still coming up with the ideas, but we had, I think we used Gemini or ChatGPT to kind of form exactly what all of our ideas meant into a nice little paragraph. And we also had students join us and weigh in on their feedback as far as what they think AI means and what that vision looked like to them.
That was
Um,
some of the most informative things I've heard is actually when we've intentionally invited students into our TAC meetings or having like student panels. There are end users. They're the ones who best speak to the reality of what it's like to have a tool like this available for your learning. And I always learn so much from them as we go to shape these policies.
So do I. I wish that all of you could see them and hear them because
It is.
honestly, they give the best answers. You would think that we were feeding them answers. We're not. They're so mindful. Which brings me to that second part, the student showcase. That was actually done at the end of last year, but before we really had a shape to what AI was going to look like in our district, we just wanted to know how students were using it, and they blew us away. We had a student showcase at Sage Creek in the library, and it ranged from second graders all the way to seniors. And they just showed us the ways that they're using AI. Of course, it varied, could have been in the classroom or outside. And then at the end, we asked them questions, and they did such an amazing job letting us know. Um, they told us that they use it as a tool, that they know they shouldn't be using it for cheating, but it could be used for cheating and what to be aware of. So they did a great job. Which also brings us into the intentional AI class discussions we've been working on, just bringing that AI literacy in the classroom, which is folded under our digital citizenship curriculum already. Um, we do have specific lessons that speak towards AI, and that's just something that we want to be discussed throughout the year. We have, I just noticed a typo, but we have EdTech Methods, and that's a group of teachers. So that picture that you see, actually, both of these pictures are from our innovative teachers from EdTech Methods, where we're focusing on AI and how we're using it in the classroom and how we can maybe shape an idea and give some examples, I guess, for our colleagues that may be more apprehensive in how to start. So that's been a lot of fun. We have pilot programs. We piloted something called Chat for Schools, which was a very locked down chat browser, um, with some of our students, again, from elementary all the way to high school. And then something else we're piloting right now is called Snorkel. It gives instant feedback. It's a really neat tool. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We're working on board language so that we can kind of get it out there. This is how we use AI in CUSD. We have our technology plan, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second here. We're pushing out a lot of PD. We paid teachers in October, the month of October, to do this Google AI training, and so many teachers participated. So we're really excited to see that people are interested in learning more and being mindful in how they're implementing AI in the classroom. Of course, we want community member feedback, so that's where those surveys come in play, including the Speak Up, but we send out our own surveys as well. And we have a timeline where we're being very intentional with these things must happen before we're really implementing AI in the classroom. And we're getting towards the end of that. So we're excited to share that with you.
Thank you for that recap, Callie. That was really succinct because there's a lot of work that's been going on in the background, and that was a nice way to try to bring together not only the various angles at which we're trying to make sure everyone is supported, but communicated with, that everything is in place to say we feel strongly and securely about this idea that we use this for learning. And that takes us into our next portion that I'll even back up from AI for a moment. The presentation is really focused at classroom technology. And whether you're talking about AI or Chromebooks or Google Classroom or whatever the software is that we've decided to invest in, we really use an anchor to come back to as our why. What is the purpose of this and why are we using it? So I'll speak a little bit specifically to AI, but please know this is the lens through which we view all of the tools that we encourage people to use. And just this year, we passed every 3 years, we update our technology plan for the board and we present that to them and they review it and approve it when they feel it's ready. It was just approved last month, and the primary goal of all the goals we have in the tech plan, the primary one reads as following. Students will leverage technology purposefully and strategically to deepen their understanding, enhance critical thinking skills, and demonstrate mastery of content across various subjects. I'm really excited about this because at the heart of learning, this is the whole goal of leveraging powerful tools, is to do what we've always wanted to do as learners: think critically, deepen our understanding, and productively wrestle with problems and create new understanding so that we can learn, right? A lot of you asked great questions in our initial questionnaire that we sent out to everyone. I hope that this answers a lot of those, because I think any, not just concerns, but just general questions people have about the use of AI. I hope that this shows you that when we approach this tool or any other tool, this is where we're coming from with our why. Why are we using it, right? Not because it's necessarily fashionable, but because we really do believe in its ability to be leveraged for powerful learning. So we're really excited about that. And we'll talk a little bit more later in the presentation how we arrived at this iteration of the goal, because it's gone from a quantitative measure to a very qualitative measure. And we'll talk more about that. But I'll let Callie kind of shift us more toward this vision for AI produced by TAC as well.
Okay, so like I said, we had all of these ideas and we had administrators, we had some teachers, we had instructional technology aides in the room. And, we had our ideas, we were throwing them out there, and we finally were like, let's just ask AI to help us. And so with AI, we were able to create this vision. Our vision is to prepare students to succeed in a future shaped by artificial intelligence. By responsibly using AI in the classroom, we aim to spark curiosity, encourage problem solving, and build confidence for lifelong learning. We want every student to utilize artificial intelligence to explore new ideas, work together, and gain the skills they will need to thrive in a world that is constantly changing. And we felt like that really engulfed all of what we were trying to say, because I don't know if you look at the technology plan and then this AI vision, they actually very closely align with each other.
Yeah, we hope that you're seeing things that as parents, that's exactly what we want our students to be able to do to launch out into the world is be creative, to be problem solvers, to be curious about how to solve problems. I do want to clarify too, and I just hope we've made it clear, that technology plan is applies to all of our thinking and all of our tools. The AI vision isn't to say that in all moments are our fingers glued to AI trying to
Right.
get answers. We're just saying when we feel it's effective and appropriate to leverage AI, it's being used in the way described by the vision.
I'm glad that you've clarified that because we as much as AI is a powerful tool, it's not something that should be used all the time, right? There are appropriate times. There are times where it is going to be used purposefully and strategically. But if we used it all the time, obviously, we're going to be missing a lot of other skills that we're trying to develop for our students. So,
Yeah, there's something to be said for that initial think for yourself what the answer could be before we plug it in. We
mhm.
want this to be like any tool, something that doesn't replace learning by any means, but rather enhances learning. And so that's driving very much our work and our vision with AI. Thanks for that, Callie.
Of course.
All right, tell us a little bit. I guess well, I'll go into what a little bit about AI. I surprised you. I'm supposed to take this slide. By the way, not once have you had to tell me my microphone's muted. I'm just gonna kind of wear that badge of honor. So when we say AI, I think it's really, and we could spend a whole hour talking just about this topic, so it'll be pretty condensed here. But when we say AI, what do we mean essentially? Because if we conflate understandings of AI, we might miss each other in what we're trying to talk about in terms of how we use what we call AI. Artificial intelligence, early days, algorithmically does things like make suggestions for you because your playlist sees that you like X, Y, and Z, right? But when we get into like generative AI, the idea is it's actually generating content. It's not just trying to make decisions of like, you might like this song next, or like for our students, they use Google Classroom. There's this really cool feature called practice sets. And based on how you're answering, how well you're doing like practice problems, it'll provide you with a new one. That's kind of that whole like let me pick next from a library to feed you with, whereas generative AI is trying to generate ideas from scratch, so to speak. I mean, you're prompting it to think and it's pulling from something on the back end. But when we say AI, we could mean everything from like really sophisticated algorithmic decisions being made all the way to generative AI, making and creating things. Um, we also get a little bit into what's called like LLMs, maybe you've heard, large language models. These are ideas of using AI to almost act like simulate a conversation. So on the screen, you can see this is Google's Gemini. It's kind of Google's version of ChatGPT, right? You type in something and it tries to talk back to you and guide you and provide you with what you've asked for, et cetera. That's a large language model. It's trying to act as though it's this personal assistant with you and use language to communicate with you based on the input. So we have this range of what we are talking about when we say AI. Am I generating something? Am I just being provided with the next practice problem? Am I trying to create a new image? Am I trying to generate an idea? Am I trying to research something where instead of just typing into Google, like Callie, do you remember when we went to school, like when Google came out, like, oh my God, then we can like search for stuff. And it did a pretty good job, but it was basically like, hey, here's an entire world wide web of stuff. And you're like, oh, I got to sift a little bit. And now with AI, it's kind of like, I can tell you're probably looking for like this. This is probably what you want. So it's just that extra microscope we can use when we're doing research and finding information. By all means, it's not always perfect. I know we've all had experiences with going, but that's just blatantly untrue. And it's fun. Sometimes even Gemini will be like, you're right, that's untrue. Um, but it's clearly it's a way to hone our searches too. So when we say AI, I just want to be clear, we could be talking about a couple of different things when we mean artificial intelligence. What did I miss there, Callie? What else is worth mentioning when we talk about what is AI?
Well, I just had a thought when you were talking about how it can be incorrect, and it often is actually about we are teaching our students that too, right? So we're teaching them to, when we teach them to use this as a research tool, they should always be um, checking, right, and making sure that the resources it used and the answers it gave are correct, and that is something that we are making aware to our students, as well as is it being biased, right? We need to look at all of it. And of course, we're not going to talk about that with our kindergartners. It's different, and we're going to go into that. But I think it's just important to note that we don't just throw it out there for students to use. We're trying to be very mindful.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. That kind of leads my thinking a little bit into the idea of like when we talk about what AI is, we should also talk about what it isn't. And I don't just mean on a technical level. I mean like as a tool, it isn't going to replace people necessarily. I mean, you could debate in society, will certain jobs shift and change and evolve like they always have over time, of course. But when we talk about education and you come back to research shows that the most powerful driver for learning is a relationship with a teacher and a social environment that fosters that kind of curiosity and that willingness to have grit and learn and ask questions, etc. So AI is not this thing that's going to say like there's no more school, but it is going to be this really powerful driver, I think, in terms of how we think of our systems of learning and how we might start to ask really important questions about evolving. What does it look like to engage with knowledge, to engage in that social environment, to engage with a teacher? But at the heart of it, learning is learning. This we just hope amplifies that learning. They always say technology amplifies what's already in the space. In Carlsbad, in our classrooms with our teachers and our students, we have amazing spaces and we have amazing professionals. Our goal is that AI only enhances that great work that's already going on, while acknowledging that for that to happen, we need to have safeguards and training and all that good stuff too. But what AI is, I think, can be a powerful driver of learning. What AI isn't something that we intend to use to replace critical thinking, to say just type the answer in here. We're here to learn. That is the business of what we do, and replacing learning is not at all what we're here to do and what we invest all of this time and expertise into. So we hope what it is and what we will work for is exactly what that vision and that technology goal outlined a couple of slides ago. Anything else that I missed there, Callie?
I don't think so. Just
Okay.
excited to talk about some of our examples.
She is. She starts to glow actually, because this is what she does in her position is that excitement of saying we do have powerful expert teachers who, when they learn more about this, can really leverage it in cool ways. And that's what she's going to talk more about. So I'm going to jump to AI in the classroom.
Okay, so we're talking about what AI is, and one of the biggest pieces and one of the biggest game changers, in my opinion, is that AI is kind of like a co-teacher for the teacher, right? Where we can really personalize learning in a way that was not possible before. We do have a video, and I'll show it in one, or we'll show it in 1 second. But um, when we're using AI in a strategic way, we can create, for example, a chatbot that maybe is we tell it to be a Spanish explorer, and the students can talk to that explorer, and it will respond as if they are them. Um, so
So cool.
it's super cool, right? And it makes it easy for them to, I don't know, just relate to what they're researching. But it can also provide so the big game changer for me is the instant feedback.
Yeah.
Teachers, their feedback is invaluable. So it doesn't replace it. It's just helping the teacher and the student progress before the teacher may be able to get there for their personalized feedback to the student. So if you're in a classroom of 32 students and you are, I don't know, let's say you're writing and you need some feedback, AI can provide that for you while the teacher is walking around and giving other feedback.
Oh my
So
gosh, that makes my heart so happy. Just, I'm an English teacher by trade. I taught for 12 plus years in Carlsbad as an English teacher in the middle and the high school level. And that was always the thing. You're doing this long form, purposeful writing. Feedback was critical, but the time it takes to get meaningful feedback to students is always the challenge. And so I see a lot of power in this tool to say, how can the initial feedback guide you? And then obviously I come in at a critical point to really provide that teacher to student feedback. So it's really exciting to see that we have this at our fingertips.
it is. And then do you mind just quickly playing the video? It's a very short video,
Sure.
but this is highlighting Magic School, which is very controlled by us and the teacher. So anything that goes into it, well, you'll see anything that goes into it isn't being used for anything else besides teacher and student feedback.
You click this link, it's going to take you to a website. Hello.
We'll talk more about Magic School in a
That
moment.
uses AI. It's an AI website that has a bunch of different resources. So I pick some that you're going to have access to. So once you click it, you'll type your name, and you're going to join my room, my classroom. Okay? You're going to acknowledge that I can see what you're doing. That it says math answers are not reliable. If you ask math questions, it may not always be 100%. Didn't we talk about AI isn't always
Okay, so it
She
was
did
just a
such a good job. Big shout out to should we name
yep,
names here? I mean, here we
I
are.
think so, yeah, we might as
Okay,
well.
you go give her a shout out. She's amazing. Go for it.
So this is Miss Van Adelsberg. She teaches 4th and 5th grade,
Trinity.
actually. She's a combo teacher at Poinsettia Elementary. And I was fortunate enough to be able to come in and watch I watched a lot of the lesson. I only showed you a small tidbit. Oh, I could just say so much actually. But in this one part, she had picked, as I don't know if you heard her, she picked resources that the students can use, and they are going to use it for research and writing. So that included a chat bot that she like basically programmed and what she wanted it to be able to tell them, and how she wanted it to respond to them, and then also some writing tools that would be available to them. But
Yeah, it was
it,
so cool. Imagine like personal, like, as far as engagement goes, you can make these personal chatbots or these tutors like sound like a certain person or use analogies that resonate with you. Like I was a big baseball fan as a kid. I'm like, hey, if you could explain this math concept using baseball concept, and it'll just pump that out for you and go, that's my world. I get that. I get what that problem. Now I can understand the distributive property because you made it. You reached my interest level, right? And I'm engaged now. It's just so cool. And to watch Joanna do, I know it's just kind of the intro to that sort of a tool, but she did a fantastic job of like I really liked how explicit she was too, to say you're going to click this to acknowledge I can see what you're typing in there, and remember it's not so great at this version of math, so just keep a mind open to that. That was just really well done.
it really was. And I also want to highlight that with these educational based AI tools, they'll do things like flag if someone writes something inappropriate, or if someone is trying to, let's say, cheat, which honestly, most of our students, that's not their default. It really isn't. And I've been so heartened to see that because I'm fortunate enough to walk around classrooms and watch all this being used, and they don't always know who I am. So sometimes I see things that maybe if they knew I was a teacher, they wouldn't have done.
Sure.
Um, but most of the time, I see them using these tools appropriately and honestly, and I hear them asking these wonderful questions. And that was the case in this classroom. Um, so I forgot where I started with that whole conversation because I got too excited.
I as you said it, I think we were just talking about it. It's funny, we have to be careful sometimes projecting onto students this self-fulfilling prophecy of you're all going to cheat, because time and again that's not what we see. Cheating's existed time immemorial. And what the research shows that we recently saw out of the Department of Education was that rates of cheating are no higher than they've ever necessarily been before, just because AI is now here. And I think that's really important to say. We understand that we were all young people too at some point. You know what? We're still young people, but you know what I mean. We were all going through school, and we all understand that temptation. We all understand the idea of making choices and learning our way forward. But we have to be very careful of like the gotcha culture. We're just waiting for them to mess up using this. When instead, when we really listen to them, as Callie and I have had the privilege of doing, the conversations are very different than what I think is being projected on the expectation of what's going to happen sometimes. It's perfectly our job to have the concerns, put the safeties in, the guardrails in place, not be naive to the fact that sure, it does make it that much easier to type in things and get answers back. I put part of that on us to say, well, if we live in a world where you can type in things and get answers back, what questions are we asking students then? What are we having them explore if all they have to do is type it into a thing and they get an answer, right?
I was just going to say something about that, about how it's actually encouraging us as educators to shift the way that we produce or not even produce, that we're providing content to our students and what we are asking them to produce back from that content. Well, we're finding that or educators are finding ways to make what students give us back to be more creative and um, done in a way that requires more of like a oh, what's the word I'm trying to think of right now?
It feels like more dynamic, more higher level,
Thank you.
critical
That's
thinking
critical
based.
thinking is what I was trying to say.
It is 5:30 and it's been quite a fun day.
It has.
But yeah, it's the other thing too to consider, that we know that we're going to get into it more, but there's appropriate scaffolds for learning, right? To say that you shouldn't therefore learn the fundamentals of math and reading,
Right.
etc., when you could just type them in is not what we're saying. What we're saying though is that if we never grow beyond those, we're really missing an opportunity to leverage powerful tools for the much bigger aspects of the world that education is supposed to fulfill. We're sending these graduates off into the world at 18 with what ability to navigate this world, right? And we just want to make sure that we leverage these tools for purposes that prepare them, while also acknowledging that developmentally where that's appropriate to use the tool in which way. And we'll talk more about that as we go.
Correct. So we talked about the personalized learning. AI is also a great tool for teachers. It allows them to take some of that low level work. So, for example, creating a lesson plan. All teachers know how to create lesson plans. It's one of the very first things that you learn when you're in the teaching program, but it's very time consuming. AI can give you the bones of that, and it allows in a quick, like 1 minute, right? As opposed to maybe 30 minutes to an hour that it could take a teacher, depending on the, like if you're creating a unit, for example, that can take hours. So AI can create that in minutes, and then the teacher is left to fill it in with all the stuff that really matters. How am I going to personalize this for my students? What are they interested in right now? They can look at data and analyze it, and they can even use AI. So that's my bottom one, my bottom bullet point. They can use AI to help them analyze that data and then figure out how that works into that lesson plan. So it's really taking all of this stuff that would take hours and then maybe the teacher doesn't have as much time to personalize and just taking all that away. And so now we're finding that when you have all that time freed up, you are focused on like student achievement, really, not just getting this thing out because I have to get it out. Um, and on another major, I'm always excited about the student part, of course. So we I love that not just teachers, but students can use it for accessibility resources. You can translate anything that you need translated. If your teacher didn't differentiate something like, let's say, a reading passage, and you're having a hard time understanding it, you can put it in there and ask it, "Hey, can you please rewrite this at a lower level for me so I can understand it a little bit better?" So it's giving students and teachers tools to make the content accessible to them, which really goes in play with what we're really focusing on in our district is UDL. That's Universal Design for Learning, and that's what it's all about, creating the content in a way that's accessible for all learners. And AI really helps us do that in a streamlined and quick way.
Yeah, that was well said, Callie. I know going through school, before we had access to a lot of not only these modes of thinking in education, but the tools to amplify them, like AI might be able to do for UDL. School, frankly, happened to work out for me. I was the right kind of learner who was able to go through the environments I was in, and I benefited from that. Not every student does, and that's something in education we really tried to be critical of in a positive way to say, how do we make sure every learner really means every learner? Well, that's really hard when you talk about how do we reach everyone with feedback in time? How do we accommodate all learning styles, et cetera? It's important that as we have tools available to us to address those, we're using them for that purpose so that every learner really means every learner in Carlsbad will have a world-class experience. There's an onus on us to pursue those solutions, and this feels like one of them.
Yes. And I know we've already said this, but I think it's really important that we mention it again. That doesn't mean that they're using AI and on technology the entire time. In fact, UDL encourages that you are, balancing the work that you're asking students to do. It just means that you use it as a tool to, let's say, differentiate that passage, but then you can take that passage and you can handwrite something or you can draw a presentation or a poster. So it's just one tool in a balance of resources and tools that students are using in the classroom.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I know a lot of people, as those who work in the technology department, we are, of course, technology enthusiasts, but first and foremost, Callie and I are classroom teachers. And I think that's so critical. We play the roles we do because that's our lens, is to say, yes, technology is powerful and purposeful when used for targeted pieces of learning, but it's not the only way to learn, nor is it always the most appropriate way to engage in a certain form or piece of learning. Maybe it serves the purpose as the opener, but then we put that away, put the Chromebook away, and instead we're doing small group discussion. And it's about the learning, not about the technology. And I appreciate Callie bringing that up, that that's our lens, is that it's what's best for learning.
Exactly.
The data analysis piece, Callie, I don't know if we had a chance to deep dive on that or what PII is or why that might
Oh,
be.
thank you.
Well, yeah.
So I did mention that a teacher can use AI to analyze some of their data, right? But something that we are teaching everyone. So PII means personalized. No, oh my gosh, why am
Personally
I?
identifiable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Personally identifiable information. We teach teachers not to put any of that into AI, right? Because that's not something that we do. We don't put student data out there. But if you put the bones of it, it can analyze like overall your class um, felt this way about your lesson, and you can take that information to inform your teaching, or you can see like another example would be it looks like based on this data that most of your students had a hard time with this standard. And so you know that you need to go and reteach that standard. So it's just a quick way of analyzing data. Some of us are really great at that on our own, and some of us aren't. So it's just another tool that we can have to find those trends and patterns that do inform our instruction. And again, when we have AI to help us just kind of quickly create that smaller stuff, we can focus on that. And it's really nice.
Yeah, thanks for that, Callie. So these are a lot of the exciting aspects of using AI in a purposeful way for learning that we're excited about. Personalized learning, tools for teachers to focus of all the, the time constraint that we have. How can we leverage tools to let us focus on the good stuff as much as possible versus the things that would be nice to generate a little quicker? And then obviously accessibility for students who can engage in ways that prior were pretty hard to do, that honor their learning styles, their engagement levels, et cetera. And then obviously we're a data-driven culture. We want proof that the learning's happening in various ways, and this can really help us amplify that. So thanks for highlighting all of that, Callie.
Yeah.
Now, we can talk all day about the exciting parts, right? Because I'm really excited about the promise of it all. But I know a lot of the questions that came from our viewers, our parents, Callie, were around the things that all of us as parents or guardians wonder about with our young people, which is, yes, this is very cool, but given the power of it, with great power comes great responsibility. And what are you doing to make sure that there are ethical considerations, that there are guardrails to this, that it's being introduced developmentally appropriately, right, at various grade levels, et cetera. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today, knowing that we could write an entire dissertation on this topic if we wanted, and we obviously don't have that time right now, but we want to at least show our viewers the steps we've taken and the things we have to be mindful of to do this correctly. So I know for this first part, and Callie will probably jump in here too in a moment, but it's that whole gradual release. What we would enable at a lower elementary level, like a pre-K through second or third grade, as far as access to certain software, would probably, like it always has, look different than at like the senior level at high school, right? We have seniors who use LinkedIn to start creating professional profiles and engage with professional communities. I wouldn't have pre-Kers creating LinkedIn accounts, talking to people out in the world, right? This isn't a new thing, but we want to show you that obviously with AI, it's all the more focus we need to put on where is it appropriate to use it in which way. So like at lower elementary, it's a lot of content creation, a lot of creativity and curiosity. We use Adobe and Canva and other programs to generate and create and give shape to ideas that students might have, versus directly engaging with like a large language model, just asking, how do I solve this math problem, right? Where they're working on more fundamental skills and learning. Whereas with upper elementary, we start to get a little bit into more teachers kind of modeling how they might use a large language model to navigate a learning scenario. You saw Joanna Van Adelsberg a moment ago. Is she fifth grade, Callie?
She's fourth and fifth. She's a
Fourth
combo.
and fifth, of course she is. She's amazing. So that's upper elementary. That's where we are starting to more so engage with like a large language model. In this case, Magic School. But that Magic School is very, very, I don't want to say locked down, but it's very controlled in terms of what students can use it for versus just the open world of ChatGPT, right? It's a more controlled environment, but it's starting to simulate what those interactions could look like. And then up through middle school and high school, we're wanting to use more of that, like enabling Google Gemini, as you saw a demonstration earlier, which is kind of like a direct use of a large language model to explore research questions, get information. One of my favorite uses of it is, I'm writing this argumentative essay. Here it is. Give me a really strong counter argument and don't let me get past it with an easy response. Like challenge me, right? How can I use this as a learning assistant to me to help me get better at what I do? I'm excited about that. And I know we've talked a lot too about how might we, in a world where you can just pump out generated content from AI, have to defend our ideas, maybe at the middle high school level or even lower and upper elementary? Are we shifting from like the paper is the final demonstration of my knowledge to, well, that was a step, but my presentation is a demonstration, my defense, like people defend their dissertations. Can I speak to the work that I've done? Can I tease out the hard questions you have about my paper? That's so exciting for us to think about. Like, what greater thing are you after than someone defending with excitement and vigor these ideas they've been pursuing and researching? I mean, that would make my parent heart very proud to watch my daughter do something like that. Do you want to add anything to those considerations that we talk about, Callie, from like a developmental perspective for our students?
Well, honestly, we're always asking our students from lower elementary to high school, and for those of us who have researched that, what that looks like, all of it includes being able to speak to something. Obviously, it's at different levels, but
Sure.
with um, with the focus of being that can they speak to this, we are really enhancing what they know, and I don't know, I think it's a really great step towards changing education in a in a better way. Like when we were kids, yes, we kind of regurgitated stuff that we were told, but I
Yep.
think that I'm seeing more creativity, I'm seeing more critical thinking, I'm seeing students collaborate more. So I am excited about how this tool that kind of changed things is shaping education for the better.
When you said that, I could almost hear that Scantron machine, like when you put the test
Right.
through and it makes that clicking noise. And like that's okay. That's one form of formative assessment to see, are my
Yes.
students learning in a quick way? But that used to be, for me and my experience a lot in education, no discredit to my teachers, because at the time that was the best we had. That was the culmination of my learning, was a Scantron test being beeped through a machine. And now the culmination can be this in-depth defense of my learning and where it was troublesome for me and I had to work extra hard and I came up with this idea and I researched, like, so much better than just clicking a Scantron through going, you passed the course, right? And I think we already see our teachers doing that great work, and we hope that tools like this just amplify that great work.
And I think that they do. I just want to add this because not all students, as we know, feel comfortable speaking to
Sure.
everyone. But with technology, not just AI, we have the tools available to make it so that they can just send the teacher an audio clip or even a video clip. But they're still participating in the overall assignment, or we have ways that they can do it in their own language, and then it can be translated for the teacher to hear it in in the teacher's home language. So
Amazing.
it's just making it all more accessible for everyone. So I just want to highlight that why we are in educational technology, that field, is because we see that potential and we see what it can do to help our students succeed.
Absolutely. Well said. Thank you for that piece. If you can't tell yet, we're very excited about the work we get to do, but we also take it very seriously. And we hope that you know that we take these questions, these ideas that you've provided to us beforehand, and you can see them on the screen here. We'll speak to each one because this is a major responsibility we have to work with tools this powerful with your young learners, well, your learners of all ages, to make sure that this is in fact the experience we claim it to be, a world-class experience. So a lot of you had brought up questions about impact on learning and skill development, academic integrity and potential for misuse, data privacy. These are wonderful. I'm going to, again, you could spend a whole day talking about these. I'm going to kind of go through each one, but we can also follow up after we went through, we answered the questions that everyone submitted, so we can provide you with maybe a more developed response too, so that you can see. And at the end, we'll make sure you have our contact information, because we would very much encourage you to always reach out when you have questions about anything we've covered or anything maybe we didn't cover here tonight. So I know, as far as impact on learning and skill development, I think you've gotten from us that we understand there's this appropriate developmental gradual release concept of when things will work best. That's not just AI, that's just any tool. When does any tool best serve the learning at that age? Um, as far as academic integrity goes, we've always had a policy around academic integrity. We updated it this year. Per the board language, we can include this, what you're seeing on the screen, in our presentation or follow up with you on it. But basically, we took the academic honesty concept we've always had, and we tailored a little bit of language into it to acknowledge that with certain tools, that is ever more something to keep an eye on and just emphasize to people. The things I would say too is that yes, it can be used for that. As we've talked about earlier in the presentation, that just hasn't been at a national scale what research shows to be like going off the charts in terms of cheating, but we are very much prepared in the event that someone does decide, like they could make a bad decision about anything, to say what are the proper channels we use to address that. So we updated that this year with some board language. As far as data privacy and security, this is actually a big one because right now, the way large language models develop, or at least initially, was to feed them lots of data. So I know right away it was, so is all this stuff being typed in going and feeding a large language model? What's in place to prevent that? We take it very seriously, not only because it matters to us, but we have to by law. So whether it's FERPA or COPA or these laws that say around data privacy, anyone who's a minor is subject to certain protections around what we're responsible for making sure they don't have personally identifiable information, etc. The big question is, how in the world where software is developed every day do you wrangle in what is and isn't acceptable? We've started to lean on certain partnerships. I'll show it just really briefly. We work with California IT and Education Organization. We lean on them for their privacy research that they do. So we can go into this portal. We can type in any app that someone wants to ask us about. I don't know, what's something that we use, Callie?
How about Edpuzzle?
Edpuzzle, okay. So I start typing Edpuzzle. It reaches into a database to say, oh, you want to use Edpuzzle. Oh, hold on, I'm not logged in. Let me refresh. Of course, during the live presentations when you're not logged in. Okay, let's type in Edpuzzle. Let's try that again. I go to Edpuzzle. It says, yep, there's an NDPA signed or an Exhibit E, and we can make sure that we have a relationship with that vendor and that they've already been vetted for all of the things that are going to make sure everything's in place for us. In terms of privacy policy, that's made it so much more manageable because every day we get requests, can you turn this on? Can you turn that on? And our answer is, we have to live in a world where as much as we'd like to say, sure, 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 we need a process in place to say, yes, we feel good about fidelity to this tool. Another layer of that I won't go too deep into is also you turn everything on and there's just this wide smattering of stuff. That's okay. Innovation requires that we try different things. But I know as a district, we also try to say, yeah, but what is the endorsed tool at that level, that grade, or for that function? So we're working with our various committees to say, but what are we endorsing? What are we promoting? Saying that's a tool with fidelity we can support and use. So we're doing a lot of good work around that. But right now, that's what we use to make sure that as far as privacy and security goes, personally identifiable information isn't being shared. We're adhering to FERPA and COPA laws, which will be linked in this presentation if you want to learn more. As far as responsible and ethical use of AI, Callie, can you talk a little bit about Common Sense Media and some of our digital citizenship initiatives we've already had going well before AI?
Absolutely. So we provide lessons that are mostly from Common Sense Media that revolve around digital citizenship and the responsible use of technology in general. But of course, with AI, there's specific AI lessons in there. And it's something that well, first of all, we require 3 lessons every year, but we are encouraging the use of it throughout the entire school year. And we give ideas as to how to just speak to it every day, right? Just as you're teaching, it just should be something that you're always speaking to. So our students and our teachers are constantly going through professional development, really, well, for the teachers and just learning for the students on a daily basis as we navigate learning in the classroom.
Yeah, thank you for including that. It's obviously something that's not just turn it on and they'll figure it out. I think there's a pretty common misconception, especially even amongst ourselves who are very into this work, that yes, these are digital natives who've grown up very immersed in digital worlds, but that's not the same as assuming they therefore know how to use everything, right?
Right.
Yes, they can be very adept at navigating things, but I've seen in various instances, I'm sure you have too, Callie, and I'm sure our viewers at home, guardians have watched too, that doesn't always mean they know how to use the tool for what it's for, like the various menus of a program or how to best think through how to use a tool. So we want to be very intentional about not just the expectation of using that tool, but do you actually know how to use it for the purposes of learning?
Yep.
I know too that as far as our teachers have been very good about saying, hey, we are fully into powerful learning. We create those environments every day, but we do appreciate having tools available to us as teachers and staff to say, how do we help with those guardrails? How do we know that this is the student creating this work and best guide them through that? So a couple of things we wanted to provide in terms of support to our teachers. One of them was turnitin.com. We've used it for a couple years now, Callie, as mostly in English classes, but it's for all writing. Students can submit a paper through turnitin.com. It does a basic plagiarism check to make sure that that is the student's work, and it's it's more and more sophisticated. Now with introducing AI detection into that software, it'll actually do a decent job of saying, hey, this whole chunk here or this section, or it's kind of interspersed, seems to have been heavily influenced by AI. We're hoping that helps teachers have a little bit of that faith to know. Now, I mean, when you talk to our teachers, they know a teacher has the radar to read something and go, that feels very different. If I know my students, that feels like a very different piece of writing suddenly, right? But we don't want to just assume things or not have some sort of evidence or proof if we're going to say that, like, hey, we should have a conversation about this piece. So we're hoping like AI detection tools help with that. While my biggest caveat there is, while being careful not to create unintentionally a gotcha culture, like we're just waiting to like catch people doing the wrong thing. Those kinds of software are intended to have productive conversations with students to make sure that there is fidelity to their learning process and that it is their learning that they're demonstrating to us, not to just say you can see some of these detectors or say like, oh, 86% or 34% was that. You're like, what does that mean exactly, right? Versus saying, hey, let's talk to the student about their process in the writing and how maybe that helped them shift their and shape their writing. That's more productive use of that. Anything to add to that, Callie?
No, it's just, they're speaking to their learning. So as long as they can do that, we feel confident that they're doing what they need to do.
I love that so much more than test. Right? It's okay to call something a test. Life is a test, but a demonstration of knowledge is just such a more robust way to say a test, right? And if I talk to my student about their writing and I've been connected to their writing process, that demonstration of knowledge is perfectly welcome to incorporate aspects of tools that help them get there. I just want to know, how did you get here? And is this your ability to be able to produce this? That's what I
Right.
want to know. The other thing that I think comes up a lot too, Callie, we get asked about beyond just AI is screen time and balance. I'm the same. I'm a technology enthusiast, and I will tell you right now, we don't just park it on the Chromebook when we get home every day, and I don't expect that to be happening all day at school at my daughter's school. But I do know that if the Chromebook's being used for targeted learning and it can be shown to accelerate and make learning dynamic, fantastic. But it's also perfectly okay to put them away. And like I said, do a discussion. I mean, one of the oldest forms of learning in a social context is just sitting in a circle and having an in-depth conversation about something, right? And challenging each other. We definitely don't say that a one-to-one program in Carlsbad means that the Chromebooks are always out all the time. We encourage and we try to provide support and tools to our teachers and staff to say, when you have that moment of powerful learning that this device is going to support, it's reliable, it's ready, and you can count on it to do what it needs to do in that moment. And when you don't need it, put it away.
And that's highlighted in the number one goal in the tech plan, right? Because we're doing it in a strategic way. And beyond that, it's something that part of our professional development is to not just replace paper with technology. It is to use it in a way that's going to redefine learning. So
Thanks for
that,
bringing that back
yeah, of course.
to that goal. I even think, as you just said, it's just tactile learning, right? The ability to like manipulate things with our hands or handwrite something, or there's something to be said for tactile learners out there that's more than just clicking keys. So we want to make sure, per what Callie had outlined before with UDL, that there's lots of ways to engage in your learning. And when it involves technology, that technology is reliable and safe, and it's ready to be used for powerful things. Awesome. Well, I know we're getting toward the end of our hour here, Callie. So a couple other things I just wanted to say. A lot of this presentation has been about AI, but it also just talks about the future of learning in classrooms with technology. And so I thought I would just briefly cover, again, this isn't just specific to AI, but I know parents have asked about security and protection of students being on the internet, being on Chromebooks. And I don't know that this is widely known, and it feels like a really appropriate time to just inform our viewers if they're unaware that anything related to the use of the internet requires us, not only in a moral conscience sense, but also by law, to provide safety. And one way we do that is, you can see on this image, we created kind of this triple layer to protection for students. At the very base layer, we use the Chrome admin console, the Google admin console. All of our Chromebooks and all of their accounts are controlled by our admin console, and I can set very granular policies to make sure people from outside our domain can't share in or contact our young learners, that the Chromebooks can't just access everything that they want to access, et cetera. That's our most base layer to make sure our students have a safe and secure environment to learn. That second layer is our web filter. What's really cool about our web filter, it's called iBoss, is the company. What's nice is that that web filter is a proxy filter. So not just while you're on our campus, but as soon as you leave our campus, you're still being filtered constantly through that filter. Even when you go home, wherever it is you go, you're always being filtered the same. So if we have certain sites available to access or certain sites blocked, that applies no matter where you go. So that's our second layer of protection. The third one is while you're on our campuses, we also have that firewall protection. On some level, providing a little bit of redundancy to the filter, catching anything, to make sure you have like a double effort there. But also just making sure that we're keeping all the bad stuff out in terms of malware and things like that. So this is our triple layered strategy to make sure that whether you're here or off campus, that our students are safe and secure and protected from what we know that the World Wide Web could otherwise provide to them, because that would not only be potentially a safety concern or security concern, but also it's just a distraction concern. If the goal of these is to be for learning, well, then we want to very much target what it is that the students are using the device for in order to learn. So that's why we employ the strategy. Again, I know that takes us away from AI a little bit, but I wanted just our viewers to understand broadly our infrastructure for student safety and security and keeping them focused on the good stuff.
Perfect. We did get a lot of questions about that, so I think it was good.
Oh, good. Okay. That's also a deep dive topic. So if you're viewing this at home right now or you're rewatching the video, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. You'll see our contact information in the end, because I know as a parent, I'd have questions about that. And I encourage you to ask those questions. Callie, it is 5:54. Holy moly.
I know.
We could keep going, by the way. we could be like the floor of Congress. We'll just speak for 24 hours. But I do know that we are coming to the end of our hour. Callie's going to cover some resources for guardians and parents, and then some next steps too that we're working on and we want to just clue you in on as we go to work together on this. Callie, go ahead.
All right, so we did include some resources for you. All of those are links. We have our Guardian's Guide to AI, which is very specific to Google because we are a Google Workspace for Education district. And you'll see when you click on that we are very they work really hard at protecting everything that's going in for our students, and what like any tools that they use that they cover under their umbrella is protected. So you'll see that when you click on that link. Because we've been talking about Common Sense Media and how much we rely on it, we did include a lesson, What is AI? But if you just click back, you'll see a lot of resources for digital citizenship in general, not just for educators, but for families. So I really encourage you to look through that. You can sign up. I sign up. Even though I do this all the time, I still like to get the emails, and it just reminds me to have that conversation at home. Parent University. So actually, this is a link to our slides, which you'll already have, but it just by being here, right? That's a resource. And then if you want to learn more about FERPA and COPA, which is what we do have to adhere by, you can click on that link and you'll see a pretty digestible PDF about that. And then we talked a lot about our initiatives and what we've been doing so far. So now that we've had this webinar, it's actually one of our pieces of, okay, so now that we've done this, what's next? We've been talking about that turnitin.com tool. We are purchasing that for some of our teachers so that they feel that they have that guardrail up, right? And that they can reliably decide like, hey, maybe this conversation needs to happen with this student. We are going to enable Gemini and Notebook LM for our students that are 13 and older. And by doing that, we also have that guardrails up, the Turnitin.com tool. We're going to continue our AI literacy for our staff and students. We're going to create a student ambassador program. This is one I'm really excited about. We're going to invite students to come in and join all of our conversations around AI and get their feedback, because of course this is all for them. So we want their voice to be heard and to be in all of these steps. We'll continue to monitor FERPA and COPA compliance. We're going to create a public-facing AI hub on our website that will just have a lot of these resources that we're talking about now, including our initiatives. We'll continue working because, again, this isn't just us. It's not just USD. This is everywhere, right? So we're going to work with our neighboring district site, which is where that tool that we use, the California Department of Education, all of those resources and partners. We're going to continue working with them as we continue down this journey, and we'll continue getting feedback from all of our community members and students and teachers.
Yeah, thanks for that, Callie. Obviously, lots of exciting things to come. And lots more opportunities for you as parents, guardians to connect with us and make sure that you feel connected to these efforts and how they're playing out in classrooms. You'll know every day around your dinner table that what is going on and how is it being used. And we encourage you to always reach out and make sure that you are able to share with us your questions, your celebrations, your concerns, anything that you want us to know. I know that the next step here, I think, Hallie, and our timing is impeccable right at the end. I think we hoped. Well, actually, this is worth noting. I'm glad we included this slide, right? Of all the things that we say are our next steps, I guess the biggest one would be monitoring. I mean, we could do, sorry to keep flipping it on everyone, but you could do all of these, but if they're falling short of what we told you our primary goal is, there's still something missing. So our biggest next step is saying, yes, we're going to put all the must-haves in place, and we're going to do all the support and due diligence and training and all that exciting stuff. But the most important thing we're going to do is monitor for, but is all of that effort hitting this target, this first goal of our technology plan, right? Are students having enhanced critical thinking skills? Are they demonstrating mastery of content across various subjects? Are they having a deeper understanding because we're doing these things? What's the proof of that, and how do we show that that is in fact what's happening? Because we bear the responsibility of that piece. So that's the biggest next step. And I know Callie and I talked about putting this as a specific slide to say the biggest next step is it working in the ways we claim it will? So that's really exciting for us. What did I miss there, Callie?
And I just wanted to note that we really do look at this too when we're going through these initiatives and we decide, is that happening? And if it's not, we reevaluate. Like, we take this very seriously as our number one goal.
We get to do really fun work. The last part of it, I think today was going to be just a little bit of how did we get here. I know with coming to the end, we just want to emphasize kind of pre-COVID, we were talking about just this idea of rolling out a one-to-one program. I know my predecessor used to always call it setting the table. Are you building the infrastructure to do this powerful learning? We went through COVID, and COVID certainly forced a one-to-one program for the entire nation, if not entire world. We got very used to, yes, we all have the devices. Now we're at this phase in our evolution of, yes, but instead of quantitatively asking, are we using them? Qualitatively asking, but to what end? What is the end to which we are using all of this stuff for learning? And again, I know that we're saying it a lot, but that really does come back to our first goal of the tech plan, which is, are we learning in deep and purposeful ways? So we're really shifting that focus toward that qualitative aspect of the technology plan. To what end are we using it all? And we think it's we're already seeing it, and we're excited to continue telling the story of the really powerful, purposeful learning that's going on because of our talented educators, our hardworking students, our supportive staff, and the tools with which we get to use to do all of that. Callie, it's 6 o'clock.
I know.
We didn't have a ton of time for the Q&A, but we were trying to be mindful of seeing all your questions before folding those into our presentation. Again, we'll share the Q&A responses so you can see those. If you feel something didn't get answered or touched on or need more depth on something or have an idea or just want to share, by all means, let us know. There is a participant survey. We'd love to hear from you if you found this purposeful, insightful. By all means, give us your honest feedback. It's an anonymous survey. And again, we'll send this to you if that's an easier way to access the survey, but here's the QR code for it.
And I was going to say that you could still just ask your questions in the form, and we're going to be sending out our responses. So if you want to navigate to the form, there it is. But we will be sending via Parent Square another follow-up.
Yeah, thank you for that. This has been a pleasure. We get to swim in this stuff all the time. The important part is communicating it to you. Thank you for all of your support as families of Carlsbad, that you send your students to our amazing schools and that you can see that the investment of our effort and the investment of your trust is meeting each other at the right place, that this is a world-class district, and these are the things we're doing to make sure it is in fact that way. Callie, we got 6 thumbs up on our YouTube channel. 6.
Oh, awesome. Good.
So thank you for the thumbs up feedback. We take all feedback in all forms. So again, that survey, again, you'll get this sent to you, but really important to let us know that whether this was purposeful for you or not, and we appreciate that feedback. What should we send everyone off with, Callie?
Well, did you want to show our emails?
Show the emails?
Yep, one more slide.
Is there one more? Look at me getting ahead of myself. Oh, the thing I promised I'd show everyone.
Yes.
I do want to show everyone our emails. And of course, the big thank you. We really appreciate your time. The fact that you took what I'm sure is a busy evening of a million other responsibilities to tune in and just give us your feedback, and even the thumbs up, we appreciate. And just your attention and time and trust. Thank you for that. These are our emails. Please reach out to us anytime you have questions. We will continue to include, we should probably even build a way, Callie, for parents who are like, I'd like to be extra in the know of things. We can make sure that you are always knowing what it is we're working on, etc.
Yeah, so just put that in the email. If it wasn't apparent, we love talking about this stuff. So please reach out if you want to.
All right, that was a ton of fun. I'm going to stop the recording now. I have to send off like one more little round of emojis. Callie, thanks so much for joining me here tonight and for all the work that we get to do. We're really appreciative of all of the teams we get to work with, the students, the staff, the teachers, the various committees, the administrators who make all of this work, and of course, the families. So thank you so much. Lots more to come, and we'll see you on the next go around.